How's it going, everyone? Larry here with the Farmstead Way, and today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for the past few days, and that is money. It seems to be a big topic of discussion. I guess it's always been a big topic of discussion. But I just see a little bit of a disturbing trend, especially with the youth, when it comes to money. And it all kind of sort of stems from the dirty hands, clean money trend that seems to be going around. You always see all these kids with these bumper stickers and hats and shirts that say, dirty hands, clean money. And I just think that's one of the most arrogant, goofy things that a man could have as a motto. It just seems really, really selfish, and it seems that a lot of people are missing the point of what your work is supposed to be. Now, obviously, I'm in a very different location. I'm in my workshop right now. I was going to film outside, but the wind was way too bad, and this will be like the third time I film this video because I want my points to be clear and concise. Now, it seems like in today's youth, you've got one of two mindsets. You have the kids that don't want to work, that live in their parents' basement, or you have the kids that have this dirty hands, clean money mindset. They get into this hustle culture mindset where they just want to work and work and work, not to provide, but for more vain things. I see a lot of young kids that as soon as they turn 17, 18 years old and they have a job for a few months, what's the first thing they do? They go out and they buy a giant truck or a fancy sports car and they start the whole debt cycle. And I think that's a horrible idea. When you start off your life with crippling debt, especially debt that is fueled by dopaminergic, impulsive buying, you're setting a standard for the rest of your life. You're setting an impossible standard that you are going to be chasing and chasing and chasing, and you're going to be willing to sacrifice all kinds of time and parts of your soul so you can pay for things. And mostly those things are unnecessary debt. And if you look at these kids, they've got the fancy giant Oakley sunglasses and flat brim hats, giant dually trucks with coffee can exhausts, and they think that they're doing a good job. Which, if you're single and that's what you really want to spend your money on, go for it. But it's kind of vain, and not so much for the fact that working hard doesn't allow you to have the things that you want, is people start getting to the mindset that the money they earn needs to go to things they really don't need. One example that I can think of is Dan Bilzerian, the guy who ran the Blaze, I think it was like CBD, whatever, marijuana thing. And he was the king of Instagram. And most of his content was him on multi-million-dollar yachts, surrounded by 20 naked women that throwing themselves at him, around also with a bunch of fake friends, doing a bunch of cool things. And kids, that's not realistic. That is not. I know there's also a couple of people I've seen on YouTube where they try to give advice to young men on, trying to be millionaires and stuff, and, trying to measure your success by how much you earn. And like I said, you're really setting yourself up for heartache. Now, being a blue-collar worker myself, I've seen this happen. I've seen the business owners. They get a lot of money, they buy the in-ground pools, they buy the fancy trucks, they buy. And then I've seen the underlings, and I've done this too, and you get covetous. And I found myself guilty of this too. I've seen people pull up on job sites with way fancier vehicles than I do. I mean, my truck's got 355,000 miles on it. It's been crashed into a couple times. I drove it into a ditch. It's all dinged up, scratched up, and still rolling. And sometimes it's easy to be like, well, that's not fair. You know, if his truck breaks down, he can just whip out his wallet, swipe a card, and $5,000 later it's fixed. With me, it's like, well, the truck's broke down. I might not be able to go to work. And it's really easy to get butthurt about things. Which brings me to the main point that I want you to really chew on, is that sometimes being broke is better. It sounds a little counterintuitive, doesn't it? Sometimes being broke is better. I always think of the Bible verse where it talks about cast not your cares on the morrow, let tomorrow worry about itself. And looking at the sparrows and the birds and the robins, and they do not worry about where their next meal is going to go, and God provides for them. Now, this is not saying that you just need to be lazy and, treat God as a genie in a bottle and hope that a bunch of wealth falls in your lap, or you're going to be lazy and not work. You need to work, but you need to get your priorities straight and why you are working. Boys and girls, I think this is also why it's important for you to get married young, because it gives both the boys and the girls purpose. It gives them drive. You see so many kids nowadays, especially men, and my dad is a tire shop manager at a local garbage dump, and he's worked there for 30-something years, and he has seen, especially with this new generation, kid after kid, I mean, I'm talking 18 to 23-year-old kids. They work for a few months and they quit. And the new kids come in, they don't want to do anything and they quit. And they work and they quit and they work and they quit because they've either got girlfriends or they're single. And once the excitement of the toys wears out, they just don't care anymore and they quit. I think you should get married young and start families young, because that gives you a purpose. It gives you drive. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning. It gives you a reason to go to work and to be happy about it, because that's your job. And then once you have a family, you have something to work towards. Now, I don't make the most money. People think that being a blue-collar worker is some sort of strange lottery ticket that, as soon as you start your own business, you're going to have the fancy trucks and trailers with the fancy graphic logo of your business down the side. And that's just not true. I think like 2 days ago, I had $17 in my checking account. But guess what? There's food in the house. The electric is still on. The truck's still running. And everyone's happy. When you learn to live on less, you are much happier. Now, there's a difference between being poor and being broke. I love that Dave Chappelle quote. He tells a story on one of his stand-up skits of his dad saying, broke is a mindset. It's a mentality that has killed a lot of men in this country. Poor is someone should do something for me. I'm not poor, I'm just broke. And being that I am a hard worker, I just have to wait till next payday. I'm not looking for handouts or anything. And you need to work to provide for your family. And this is something that my wife and I both have an understanding on, is we both have rather low standards when it comes to money. We don't desire the most expensive things. We don't desire the fancy vacations, and we want to travel. We want to go have fun, but we need to do it within our means, because it's not worth my peace. With more money comes more problems. And what happens is, say that, This is your income level and you want to be here. And then you get this money, and then you want to be here. And then you get this money, and you want to be here. And then you get this money, and you want to, and it just constantly outruns you. I'm sure there are things that Elon Musk wants to do that he cannot afford to do. Because the ceiling just keeps going up and up and up. And there is a limit in the sky to when your money does not make you happy anymore. I want to invest in my family. So instead of spending that extra 12 hours on the job site, maybe I'm going to spend that extra 12 hours with my family. Now, it's important to save up for your future, for retirement and all that stuff, because you don't want to be totally dependent on other people when you are older. But I think it's better to get older with a house full of children that love you, that want to help you, than having a giant pile of money for your retirement fund and your kids don't know you and they despise you. Because daddy had dirty hands, but he had clean money. And no love in his heart because he was never around. I can hear my daughter out there right now. So when it comes to money, just don't let it rule your life. Sometimes being broke is better because it allows you to appreciate the small things that you have. It allows you to cherish the small things, the finer blessings in life. It allows you to appreciate tiny things like a good cup of coffee and a warm day, and you don't have to go from buying high, from purchasing high, from purchasing high. It forces you to be frugal. It teaches you that maybe, I don't need this fancy new thing. Maybe I should appreciate the things that I have. You got to be a good steward of your money, but you can't let your money rule you. And sometimes being broke is better. It really is. It forces you to appreciate things and be thankful for what you have. Something to mill on. So, just like I said, I just want to share something that was on my heart. We had an interesting day at work today. We changed out an oil furnace in a guy's house. So it's going to be some good money that comes along with that. So thank you so much for all your love and support. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about the channel. If there's anything that you would like me to talk about, anything that you'd like me to do differently or cover, just leave a comment below. And you all take it easy and have a good day.